Okay, I want to make this video, and it's not a video essay. It's not professionally made. I just want to talk about the collector from the Owl House and try to convey my theory on how the collector operates and why the collector is so powerful. Bear with me. So the collector was imprisoned on a 2D plane, meaning that's the reason why he was on the walls, he was on statues, but he was never able to interact with the 3D plane. He was never able to interact with Bellows. He was never able to touch people. He was just on walls because they were trying to. Him being on the walls shows to us that he was only trapped on a 2D plane, right? His face was 2D and everything. So it makes sense for a being such as the collector to be trapped on a 2D plane because the collector, this is my theory, is a higher dimensional being, right? When he was freed, he was able to just fucking move the moon out of the way of the sun with ease. And we perceive that, or the people in the Owl House world perceives that as him moving the sun with his finger. That's what we perceive. But to him, it's just a higher dimensional manipulation because in higher dimensions, we're the third dimension, by the way, but in higher dimensions, the shit comes to you. Okay. You don't go to it. All right. I think things come to you. And I'm not heavily educated on this sort of subject, but I mean, I've seen, seen videos, read stuff. Okay. I don't go to school for this stuff, but this is what I think is going on with the collector and why he's so fucking powerful. All right. So he operates on a higher dimension. When he was freed, he looks three-dimensional to us because that's how they have to convey it, or not convey it, but that's how they have to make it seem in the show so it's easier for everyone to comprehend. But when I tell you that the collector is a higher dimensional being, he is working or manipulating everything in a higher dimension, and we cannot comprehend his power. Okay, well we can see what he's doing, but how he's doing it, we can't comprehend it because he is literally a higher dimensional being. We could comprehend his form, what he looks like. He's yellow and blue and shit. Okay, we get that. But but it's a reason why this motherfucker was trapped in the second dimension because he wasn't able to manipulate the third dimension. It was to keep everyone at the third dimension safe, like all the witches and even humans and shit. So when he was finally freed, you just when King freed him, he freed a higher dimensional being, okay? A god, okay? A fourth dimensional being is a god to us three-dimensional beings. Why? Because they operate and they can manipulate the second dimension, the first dimension, and the third dimension. They can just do whatever the fuck because because we can't comprehend them. We cannot comprehend the fourth dimension. Okay, like it's impossible to comprehend the fourth dimension. So if a fourth dimensional being decided to fuck with the third dimension, we cannot stop them because they are literally in the fourth dimension. We can't comprehend them. I'm being a bit passionate about this because like you have to understand the gravity we're dealing with when it comes to a being like the collector. Okay, so with that being said, that's why it was so easy for the collector to move the moon out the way he did, because to us it seems like he just put his finger like on the moon. Now imagine the eye being the moon, and he just moved it. That's how it was, like that's how we perceived it. To him, it was probably like it, I don't even know because he's a higher dimensional being. Okay. But we perceived it as him just moving it with his finger because of the perspective of it. Okay. Even though the moon, it was like thousands of miles away from the Boiling Isles, I'm assuming. But to him, it was just different. To us, it just looked like he moved the moon out the way with his finger. But to him, it was probably extremely different. Again, there's a thing, there's like some sort of theory or yeah, some sort of understanding that in higher dimensions, people in higher dimensions, or if you're a higher dimensional being, you don't go to what you're trying to get to. The thing you're trying to get to, your destination will come to you. You don't move in a linear path, the stuff you're trying to get to moves to you. So to the collector, the moon was probably to him, close to him. He just moved out the way, but we didn't perceive that. Again, because the three-dimensional beings can't perceive fourth-dimensional shit. Okay? And for a fourth dimensional being or a higher dimensional being, because we don't know how high of a dimension the collector works in, he's just fucking around in the third dimension. He's fucking with us. He's fucking with everyone in the owl house, all the witches and shit. He's just he's fucking with us. Okay, that's all I'm saying. Um, and he's just messing with everything. He's messing with the moon. He's acting like a child. His entire fucking personality is childlike and all that stuff. And but like it's dangerous that we have a higher dimensional being fucking with the third dimension, because he's moving moons. He's moving the concrete and stuff to make a owl house or whatever he thinks a owl house is. The fact that King freed him meant absolute destruction, and I don't know how they're going. Well, pretty sure they're going to figure out a way to imprison him or to do something to make him not a threat again. But if this was like real life, if this was real life, we would not be able to beat the collector. Why? Because the collector is a higher dimensional being that works in higher dimensional ways that will automatically defeat us because we cannot perceive it. We cannot comprehend the higher dimensions because we're only three-dimensional. Okay, we can comprehend the first and second because we're made up of the first and second dimensions. We're gods over the first and second dimensions. But as for the fourth, fifth, and so on, we physically, we mentally can't fucking comprehend it. So that's what we're dealing with the collector. I hope this video makes a lot of sense. Also, to give just a little analogy that I like to use to kind of show you, to kind of like give you a perspective. Think of Mario, and I mean like the 2D Mario, the platforming, right? 2D Mario is a plane. He's second dimension. He's a second dimensional being. And if you put a box, like a box with a ball inside of the box, and just imagine that my hand is closed on this side, and you put Mario in front of it, Mario wouldn't be able to see what's inside of the box because it's a box to him, right? We are three-dimensional, right? We're looking at Mario's two-dimensional world. We can see what's in the box because we're three dimensions. He will never be able to see what's in the box because he's only looking two-dimensional. But we can see it because we're gods looking down to the second dimension, and we can see that there's a ball in the box. Imagine a fourth dimensional being looking at us. They can see whatever is inside of whatever because they're fourth dimensional beings. What I'm trying to say in this video that has been absolutely long-winded, the collector is a horrifying entity that is of a higher dimension, and the owl house and everyone else is fucked until they figure out a way to defeat the collector. You guys thought Bellows was a threat? We're fucked because the collector has been freed, and they were able to move the fucking moon out the way because they did it in a way that they understand. We only saw it as them just touching it and moving it. But to them, again, it was probably they did a bunch of shit, or the moon came to them and they moved it. I can't, again, if you guys are confused, like how did the moon come to them? We didn't see the moon go to the collector. Exactly, because we can't comprehend a higher dimensional thing happening, such as the collector moving the moon. We think it's they're being telekinesis. They're using the force. No, they're not. No, the collector is a higher dimensional being. So whatever they fucking did to move the moon, we did not see it. Okay, we only saw what we can comprehend, and that was just them touching it with their finger and moving it. I know this is very confusing. It's very confusing for me to explain it, but that's what I think what the collector is. They're a higher dimensional being, kind of like Bill Cipher. They're a higher dimensional being who is able to just to fuck with us with the third dimension. Bill Cipher is an absolute good character to compare the collector to, because he's literally a triangle and he deals with more dimension shit. But the collector, I bring up the dimension stuff because when I realized that they were imprisoned in the second dimension, I was like, fuck, They're a higher dimensional being. That's why they're a god, because fourth dimensional beings are gods to us, okay? Higher dimensional beings are gods to us because they can see the circle in the box that we can't see. Remember the Mario analogy I used, okay? Boom, that's the collector. All right, I'm done talking. I'm tired. So, yeah, I hope that helped.